Hello everyone. I thought that I would go over my background just to show you some documents about my past. Here you can see sort of a summary. United States Department of State, University of California, EZIT, that's the school I did in Paris, European Parliament, European Court of Justice, United Nations, that would be peacekeeping, International Criminal Court in The Hague, the OECD, the Universal Postal Union, UNESCO, and more. On the right side of the screen, you see what I think is the most important document for me. It's when the United States State Department tested me in simultaneous conference interpretation, both from English to French and French to English, and granted me the State Department conference rating in both of those directions. Here we see on the left the document also showing my conference rating, that is simultaneous conference interpreting from Portuguese into English. That's on the left. On the right, we have more about that test. It's actually an amendment to my contract to show that I had passed the State Department conference rating. University of California, that's my Master of Arts degree. And then on the right, there's a certification that I did my second year of the EZIT. That's the one where you learn to do simultaneous. It's one of my very first jobs, 7th of January 1987. I went to Luxembourg. I was living in Paris at the time, and I worked for the European Parliament. And then on the right, we see some actual name tags for me to work several days at the European communities as well. On the left here in pink, that's one of my first contracts to work in United Nations peacekeeping. On the right also, New York letter of appointment, so on and so forth. For Luanda, Angola, it's underlined in red in the middle. Again, this is peacekeeping for the United Nations. I worked in Rwanda, Angola, and Kosovo for a total of about 6 years. Again, here we have more UNMIC. That's on the left, you can see in the middle UNMIC. That's my assignment to UNMIC in 1999. Again, here we have UNMIC, another contract for peacekeeping, letter of appointment, United Nations, New York. Here on the left, to me, this is a very important document. It is about UNIBEM. No, sorry, that's about UNIBEM. I thought it was the one about UNESCO. Here on the right, no, that's a letter of recommendation in French from the special representative of the Secretary General at the Rwanda mission in 1994. Manua, that's another recommendation for my mission in Angola. Manua, again, Angola. On the right is one of my first documents for the International Criminal Court, where I worked for a full year on site as a staff interpreter, reviser, and translator. That is the second half of that appointment. Here's more from the International Criminal Court. Sorry, it's very hard for me to see on my screen, but that's more from the International Criminal Court, going back to 2005, 2006. Again, 2005. A letter of appointment again for the International Criminal Court in The Hague. Again, the ICC with his stamp. Again, the same. And more from the International Criminal Court. Oh, these I'm very proud of. The OECD, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. It's one of the major organizations in Paris. We see here from 2004, also 2007, which showed that I worked for them over a span of at least 3 years. Here we have it again, 2006, I think it says. I can barely see it. Again, the OECD in Paris. Here's the International Postal Union. This was really an amazing job. I used to take the high-speed train up to Bern, and I worked there also over several assignments over about 3 years, from 2002 to 2005. 2005, it says here. Yes, I thought it was 2006. So these are some pay stubs, I think. More from the International Postal Union for those 3 years that I worked there, off and on. UNESCO. Here we have both a test, a letter that declaring that I worked there. That I was using that for tax purposes. But also we have a pay stub from UNESCO in Paris, where I worked over a period of about 3 years. Oops, now it's no longer moving forward. I guess that's the end of it, actually. So there you have a summary, some of the documents showing my past and some of my certifications. Thank you.